Hey everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Mary Payne here. It's Thursday, and I guess it's barely Bravo. It's shades of Bravo. It's a little bit of Bravo. It's Bravo Corner. I don't know what we're calling it still. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Bravo. And today I have my friend and producer here. It's producer Ingrid. Hey, Ingrid.
Hey, today it is, honest to God, barely Bravo.
I mean,
Because
it's
both of
barely awake.
between the two of us, we barely know what is going on.
Yeah, it's barely awake. It's
Hey,
barely upright.
it's been a big week for us.
It's
Been
been
a big
rough.
week. It's been a long week.
Yeah. It's been the
Um,
longest week ever, and I'm trying to get
not
ready for this
over.
trip. It's not over. Trying to get ready for this trip to Denver and do like a bunch of pre-recording so everybody will have their content.
Mhm.
And then after that, I'm having a little surgery, so I'm trying to pre-record for that so everybody will have their content. And I'm hanging on by a thread. This
I
cup of coffee with appropriately Bethenny
Uh-huh.
and
I
Kelly
see that.
Bensimon
I
on
see
it
that. I see
is
that. I love
is
that.
I don't know if it's going to pull me through. I'm going to be honest. Thank God you're here.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure as always. The
Um,
people know what they get when I'm on, I think.
just knowledge and cuteness is what it is.
That's right. Good thing there's no video. So
Thank
the
the
knowledge
Lord.
the knowledge is all they get today.
Oh God. Well, so barely Bravo. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to barely talk about OC. We're not going to talk about Atlanta because I'm definitely not caught up on
Mm-mm,
that.
mm-mm.
Um, all these things I need to catch up on. We're going to talk about RHONY, the new RHONY. We're going to talk about Crappy Lake, and then we're going to close it down with our pal Bethenny. So let's start with OC. Now, I'm not caught up. I'm at least 2 episodes behind, I think, because I haven't seen the one where Shannon dresses up as Gina, because then Gina posted it was a terrible time in her life and why they make fun of her hair. But okay, so that I didn't see. And then
I
there's a new one that I haven't seen.
Wait, when does this show even come out?
I don't know.
Because I watched the one that I thought was the most recent, which was where they all dress up like each other.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so that's the one I'm going to just quickly discuss.
okay. All right. Let's see. You guys, when we said we are not, by the time we go to BravoCon, we'll know everything about
Oh,
everything.
we
But
we really will, and really, there's really not. Let's remember, I was gone from
right.
reality for like 13 days or 11 days or whatever the hell it was, and I was
Yes.
in Tuscany. Not bragging. There
Sounds like a
was
brag.
there was Wi-Fi, but I really had to use every drop of Wi-Fi to get our episodes up. There
Yeah.
was not a lot of like lounging and catching up on shows.
Okay.
Um,
It comes on Wednesday night. So it came on last night
oh
and we missed
God.
it because we
Okay.
were doing other things. And I had a, yeah, I
I
had
was
a,
heavy into Bethenny research last night. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about the last one where they all dress up like each other. Now, I
okay.
realize you haven't seen it, and I realize we're a week behind now, so this will be quick.
Just explain to me what
I
happened
would
because
like to just
they had a
yes.
party where they dressed up like each other, which is a better idea than a Roaring Twenties party. Yeah.
Yeah, or a disco party at this point. We've done
Or a
that already.
lingerie party. Yeah.
Lingerie party. Mary Payne,
Yeah.
I've been meaning to invite you to a lingerie party at my house for
Mm.
probably the last 10 years.
I swear to God. And every time we go out, all we do is just shots, 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 shots.
Okay.
Never taken a
Well,
shot in my life. Okay, go ahead.
I would like to just jump ahead to there's a lot of yada 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 before the party, but we're going to just skip to the party where everybody's dressed up like each other except Vicky
Okay.
because she's the OG of the OC, so she goes as herself. But
Which I gotta love that.
Shannon is her face work looks better now, I think, than
Mhm.
it did several years ago. I just said this party is a terrible idea. This party is so mean because when you dress up like somebody, you're gonna accentuate their perhaps not most glorious features. And that's
Okay.
exactly what happens. Shannon has this giant fuzzy wig on, and then she on purpose puts in these straight extensions into the wig, and you can like see the snap-in tracks and all that stuff.
Yes,
And
that's what was happening that
and her
time.
makeup is ridiculous, and then she's got this purple sequin dress and she's wearing like Doc Martens and the whole thing is just such a disaster. And I was like, well, they might be having fun now, but boy, when the alcohol comes out, it's going to get ugly. Okay. And it does.
Yeah.
But the first thing that happens is they do keg stands. First of all, when was the last party at your house that you had a keg?
I've never had a keg at my house, and this is not to say that we're just not. I mean, when my husband did drink, and I do still drink, we're not big beer drinkers, so that wouldn't be necessary. But I don't even think our friends who have a pub in their basement down the street have ever
Ever.
had a full keg. Now they've had a mini keg for a
Yeah,
party.
yeah, and well, and now I can't even really drink beer because of the gluten. So,
Old ladies and their
although I
coins.
did although I did have a lovely gluten-free beer in Rome, and it was a treat. But, anyway, I was just this whole party confused me. The spread, the charcuterie was all over this island in the kitchen, and I was like, "How many people are coming to this?" It was just them, just their group.
Right,
It
so
was
just them,
it was like
charcuterie and keg for
probably
400 people. Yeah.
$1,000 of charcuterie on this island, maybe more, I don't know. Anyway, yada yada yada. The point is that Shannon wants everyone to know how happy and fulfilled she is in this
Uh-huh.
relationship with John Jansen.
Okay.
She has never been happier.
Mhm.
Her friends say that she has never looked better.
Uh-huh.
That is a bunch of crap.
Mhm.
I've seen her look better, and it was right after she got that divorce finalized with the first one. And it, she loses her mind. I do not look crazy. I will not look crazy. I mean, she goes to the producer tent outside.
Yeah.
You've got to stop filming. This is my boyfriend. I'm going to be in so much trouble. And you owe my boyfriend a huge apology. And I was like, why is she
What
protecting this guy?
but what
Because, okay, so I kind of
what
skipped over. Well, I guess she has in various ways, which we've seen, confided a little bit in maybe Emily or a little bit in Heather or a little bit
Uh-huh.
in Gina or whatever. And when friends care about somebody, they talk to each other who people and now I know that these relationships are a little bit disingenuous, right? Because they're on TV,
Yeah.
but you start to put the pieces of the puzzle together with other people in the friend group and
Yeah.
that creates some like urgency, some like, wait, we're worried about her.
Right.
He calls her ugly names like fat and whatnot. They get into screaming fights at restaurants, which we've seen.
Uh-huh.
Just all of these things. And so all the friends are kind of putting it together. And she is lashing out so bad, like, you broke my trust. I thought that was in the vault. Well, I thought you vaulted me. And I thought this. And I'm like, I think she's missing the point that yes, she can vent to her friends. She can.
Mhm.
But sometimes it goes beyond like, goddamn, if he leaves his leftovers out on the counter one more time without putting them away, I'm going to lose my mind. Versus he calls me fat and leaves me at Nobu.
Uh-huh.
Like there's bitching about your husband, and then there's like, uh-oh, this is a problem. This sounds like a problem. And that's where the friends are at with Shannon, you
Okay,
know.
so you and I both listened to Juicy Scoop, and she has
Mm-hmm.
said that her understanding is that, or I think even Shannon said it to her, to Heather
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
McDonald,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that one time she was doing something to pull, pull a line or something for the boat, and she fell in
Mm-hmm.
the water, probably in her clothes, and he
Yeah.
did not like
Help
reach in
her.
to help her.
Yeah.
So, and then they broke up, and now apparently they are, back together ish.
Well, I don't know if they're back together because remember she like had dinner with his family or something and then she ended up getting tossed out of the restaurant, but oh no, I wasn't tossed out. They were closing down. It just sounds rough.
She
And
had a screaming match with his daughter, who
yeah.
she said has never liked her. And, you know, listen, they broke up. He went out with a woman, to the quiet woman.
Mhm.
How dare. Um, where he was photographed and stuff. And then, so she's getting back together with him, it seems. According, to what she said on Jeff Lewis's show, it seems that
Mhm.
they are getting back together. And maybe they've worked through their stuff. But I think that either Heather said it or Jeff said it. Someone who knows her really well said she is a person who will call you at midnight and dump all this on you over and
Mhm.
over and over and over. And after a while, you do
You
get
can't
like, okay, you get tired of it.
you can't be that person
Always.
like, you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, I mean, but you also can't be the one on the receiving end of the call all the time. Like,
yeah,
in various ways, I'm sure we've all had that friend,
yeah.
or whoever, but like maybe it's a boss, maybe and it's really hard to carry that burden. So then you share it with your friends because you know they've gotten a little bit of the burden, and maybe they're thinking it's intervention time.
Mhm. Right.
But anyway, so Shannon is losing it. I mean, losing it. Like,
So they start saying to her at this party, "Hey, we're actually worried about this
we're
situation from
worried.
what you've said." Okay.
Yeah, and she's like, "He does not want me talking about him. You owe him a huge apology, Emily, and this and that and this and that." Her hands are just like flapping all around, you know how she is. And Vicky, very like, "Yeah, they don't know him the way you know him." And da, 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 da. I was like, "Vicky, you've
Oh
been
god.
doing
Like
this.
she's the one. Right.
You've seen the fallout from a bullshit relationship. Like,
Mhm.
I said, I just wrote down like friends worry about each other on a human level, whether or not
Yeah.
they're on a show or whatever. They worry about each other on a human level." And then I wrote, maybe not Tamra. Um, Tamra's just there for the drama. But anyway, if you have to scream about how much you're in love with somebody, that's really
Yeah.
probably a red flag. And like, I don't know why she's protecting this guy so much. And she keeps saying, "We have normal fights that paralyze me." I'm like, then it's not a normal fight. Like, what is
Right.
going on here? This woman,
Right.
why do these women need men so bad? Why? They
Uh
need men so bad. And how is it that Taylor Armstrong seems like the level-headed one in the group?
yeah, that's a surprise. It's a
Mhm.
surprise that she's level-headed. It's a surprise that she had a like a 3-year relationship with a woman before she married Russell. All of this is surprising
I
about
know,
her.
but it feels to me like she's really like, "Yeah, this is who I am. I've been through the worst, and
Right.
this is all just gravy. I didn't know if I'd make it out of this mess. And now I'm just myself and I'm loved and I'm
Mhm.
loving or whatever." But my idea here is like, why do you have to, like, if people are talking about your relationship or their relationship or somebody else's relationship, it's like, is there something wrong with your personal relationship? Like, when we get around to like our crew, when we get around together, we
Mhm.
don't really like, "Oh my god, did you hear about did you," like, "Wait,
Yes,
did
we
you
do.
talk to well, maybe,
Yeah.
but they're not in our totally tight friend group, and it usually stops with like, "Oh, I heard they're getting divorced." "Oh, that sucks."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
what?
no.
Like, that's the end of the story. Like, I don't know. There's no
Yes, we may do that about people outside of our friend group.
hell, people we don't even know we'll talk about.
Right, like, I don't have to know them. I just need the story.
I
Yeah.
know. That's the thing, stories. Well, anyway, so the fights paralyze her. I don't know what's gonna happen, but this woman is a disaster, and she
I
really
think
needs to
I
get
heard,
it together. She's almost 60 years old.
I think I heard Casey and Danielle talking about it, saying, like, "This woman has taken more trips to Video Village." She's just constantly running
Yes,
over to
running
Video
back and
Village.
forth,
Yeah,
yes.
like,
So anyway, okay, blah, 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 that's the end of that story, but they do play this game called
Mhm.
Do It or
Mm.
Drink or Do It or something, and
Oh god.
it's like a literal card game that they sell
Okay.
somewhere. Tamara brought it,
Of course.
and it's like Dare. It's like Dares, and if you don't do the dare, you have to drink, and it's probably supposed to be shots, but I mean, no. And so it's like, oh, if you so call a pizza place, get a pizza delivered, and ask for the delivery guy to have an extra large sausage,
Okay,
stuff like
no.
that. Or okay, so then you're gonna have to take 3 shots.
Okay, but
Do
I'm
it
not
right
go
now.
I'm not doing either one of those things. I'm too
Well,
old and I'm not playing this game. I'm gonna
well,
go home.
or okay, um, lick the person's nipple on your right, or take
Nope.
2 shots.
No. No, I'm not doing that either. No.
I
This
know.
is a terrible
I'm
game.
like, these ladies are oldish. I mean, they're lovely and they're gorgeous, obviously, but like they're old. Don't be
Listen,
doing this stuff.
first of all, they're not old. They're my age, so shut up.
Well, okay, they look older. Listen, when they went in close up on Tamara getting glam and like Shannon getting glam, I thought, whoa, that's really a very close shot of a lot of stuff going on
A
their
lot of
faces.
makeup.
Oh my god, and pores.
I think what you meant to say was They're too
They're
old to
too
be
old for
playing this
this.
game.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Hey, you're using the cup I got you.
I am. It's so cute, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wish maybe we should have video.
Oh my God. All right. So
That's
let's
it.
move on.
That's it.
All right.
There's no reason to talk about them anymore.
All right. Especially since I didn't even watch it. Okay. So this is where we are. So, RHONY. All
Yeah.
right. Let's talk about RHONY, the new RHONY. I am caught up on that. So,
Yeah.
as the people go, as it goes, you start to sort of get people's personality, right? So
Mhm.
Jenna's quirky, and Sai is an influencer. And listen, how much money does she make to have a staff?
Um it's got to be a ton. I mean, I think she probably I tried to like kind of remember, that mommy blog stuff when it was first hitting was kind of like when we were it was a little bit after our kids were babies. So like
Yeah, for sure.
our kids are 20. So maybe when the older ones were 5 or something. But it was like
Y-
a lot of that mom blogger stuff was about like
Yeah,
having a little baby, and we already had like 5-year-olds. So
yeah.
I missed some of it, but I also just never really got into that whole culture of
So that's how she got started.
that's how she got started. And then I think she got picked up. It sounds like BuzzFeed did a story about her. And
Hmm.
then things just exploded. And she might have been the only good writer or good whatever. Her mommy blog must have been the best in the bunch at that point.
Yeah,
Plus, it doesn't hurt that she's adorable and tiny and cute.
yeah,
And I mean, so then after BuzzFeed did it, then she got so much more following that people just kept sending her stuff. Can you post this? Can you post this? Well, then she got smart and started charging, advertise,
yeah.
basically advertising space. And then I guess it just grows and grows. And she clearly is a hustler. I mean, I haven't looked up her content online. I should probably do that. But yeah, I think that's how she made her money. But I mean, she has a staff of, she's talking about like, she makes payroll. I mean, it looks like 5, 10 people on her staff. I don't know, but
I
she's
mean,
getting all of this stuff sent to her. It
yeah,
just shows you like the rich get richer, like, I don't
right.
know. Like
It's
here's a verse.
called Scout the City, and she has 497,000 followers.
Okay.
So
On
that's
Instagram.
on Instagram.
Okay.
I
What about her
believe that's
blog though?
um well,
Also, is it Scout like the Scout Guide? Like, does she do other?
Scout the City, like she's scouting the city.
Okay, got it. I didn't know if she like owned the name rights to,
Oh,
you know
no,
what
I
I'm
don't
talking
think
about?
so.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like you click on it, you click on view shop, right?
Hmm.
So we got booby tape, we got hoop
Oh,
earrings, we got Prada sunglasses, we got certain shorts, we got Bobby Brown,
hey, Mary Payne. You
you
know
know
what? You're
what?
right on your way to being a product mogul millionaire yourself because we do have our little Amazon store
That's right. You can find
where we're
out.
selling, oh, not we're selling, Amazon's selling Mary Payne's favorite things like her tiny fan.
I got my tiny fan. By the way, the people, the friends of the pod that we sent the tiny fan to, like Ryan
Oh,
Bailey, or they are all really loving it, and I'm hoping Ryan Bailey hear our prayers. Please be using it at BravoCon, so you won't be
yeah.
sweating all over people.
Well,
Um,
I listen, as a sweater, I understand.
yeah, those new little fans that we got made
Mhm.
for people that have been on the pod as guests, like.
Mhm.
I sent one to Doug Buden. He really loves it. He called me yesterday. They're very thin. They really can go
Yeah,
right in your pocket.
yeah. They're
Maybe we
good.
should sell them.
Okay.
It's just another job for Ingrid.
I know. Anyway, I think you have to be a really special person to the pod to get one of those fans.
Yeah, definitely have to be a guest host. Um, okay, so
So anyhow, okay. So
RHONY. Okay,
the point
the
is
point
that
is,
she's selling stuff. She's getting a cut probably of whatever she's
yeah,
selling on her site. So, and she's selling
yeah.
$5 items, not like we're selling, the Knot
But this is an
Doctor.
Instagram shop. This is not even an Amazon shop. You click it
Yeah,
right
yeah,
on
yeah.
Instagram.
On her,
There's a
yeah.
$3,800 Prada bag. There's a $5,000 Dior bag.
And you don't know what kind of deals are going on with these fashion houses because those purses do not cost that much money to make. So if they give her a percentage for all of the ones she sells
Hmm.
via her Instagram shop or whatever,
Yeah.
like they can afford to pay her a pretty good cut depending on what their deal is. I mean, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not a business lady, but that's how I assume that it goes. But yeah, she's cute and tiny. Bryn, I
Her
oh,
story is interesting, side story is
mhm,
interesting.
mhm,
I, I like the situation with her husband where, like, I mean, he just retired and runs a house, and I always love that.
mhm.
Um, I think that's great. Boss babe doing boss babe things,
That's
hashtag
right.
boss. And then Bryn. Okay, we did learn a lot more about Bryn this week, which was good because up to this point, I was like, she bugs and she bugs.
Well, yeah, she still bugs a little bit. I gotta say, I loved her attitude of, listen, I've been in the shit and I've been
Hmm.
happy, and it's way more fun to be happy. So I choose happiness.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's easier to choose happiness when you have money, but you know, but the sentiment still stands.
Do we
But
know what
she
her
still bugs.
job is? Do
Okay.
we know what her
I was
job
waiting
is?
for you to ask me because I looked
Yeah.
it up. I went on
Uh,
her LinkedIn so that you don't have to.
okay, thank you.
Um that she is a communications and marketing consultant.
Okay, me
So
too.
basically I am too.
Yeah.
So and it says that it said her net worth. Now, this net
No, I
worth
never
thing,
believe that. I
yeah,
never
because
believe
it
that.
says it's 3 million, and I'm like, no, it's got to be more. She's got to be worth more than that to live in the West Village and live the life she's
Maybe or maybe
leading.
she has an apartment that's worth 3,000,000. But if she's a
Well,
communications
she rents, but
consultant and she's in her 30s, I don't think she's
she was
worth
at a big
3,000,000.
firm. She was like at a big PR firm before, but then a couple years ago, I guess she went out on her own as a consultant. I mean, really, I guess all you really need is a couple huge clients.
Mhm.
Um, but
But what kind of communication and marketing is she doing is my
well,
question.
the company she came from was like a social. It was like a social networking database software company.
Okay.
So
That was
I
just a
sup
lot of words that sounded like Jen Shaw.
yeah, I know. I know. I know. I'm not sure. The company does have a name. I can't remember what it is, but whatever. Um, I don't know. I'm a
So
little skeptical.
she worked for a big company and now she went off on her own as a consultant. So
Mhm.
she's an LLC unto herself.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
all right, and she's had this series of, fiancés and whatnot. I thought it was interesting that she's like, "Yeah, I don't have any family, so I just kinda bebop around, and that's why I go to London for Thanksgiving," or all of it was sad, and it was when you learn these things about people kinda early on, because I feel like on some of these shows,
Mhm.
especially on the 90-day shows that I cover, you could be middle to end of a season or even season 2 and find out something about somebody
Right.
and
And
you're like, "Why didn't they tell us this before? It would have helped us understand them more."
it fills out the character. It fills
Mhm.
it brings them to life more to know what the backstory is. But I
Yeah.
think in some cases they don't give you that information because they want you to take everything at face value
Yeah.
and not dig too deep about why someone behaved a certain way. We can
Right, but
talk
I
about that later with Rachel Raquel.
yeah, like, I'll give Ramona as an example, okay? So Ramona is somebody who was probably on our TV for 10 years before we found out about her horribly abusive alcoholic father
Mhm.
and having to basically raise her sister because the mom was in the bed depressed and how that's why she's the way she is. And,
Mhm.
she's a businesswoman, okay? So, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, and honestly,
that doesn't excuse Ramona's terrible behavior. I'm just saying it is interesting to
well,
know that she grew up this way, and I
it
would have liked to have known
informs
it. Yeah.
yeah, it informs her decision making in the world. And as thoughtful, I like to consider myself thoughtful and semi-intelligent.
Mhm.
When you go through the world as just a regular person, not a reality star, you try to take into account all of those qualities in a person, right? In
Mhm.
a friendship, and not judge them just for one part of their personality because you
Mhm.
know all these other things. Well, guess what? On TV, they might choose not to show us those things so that we do gang up on one character and there's
Right.
no depth to
Good point.
them. There's
Mhm.
no depth to them on purpose so that we can all hate on somebody because it happens to somebody every season.
Right.
Like, right? So like, but everybody's got buried shit somewhere. I mean, in whatever way, like, oh, I was fat in middle school, or oh,
Yeah.
my parents got divorced, or oh, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, people have their things. They just
Yeah.
don't wear them on their bodies, like, in some cases in the real world, right? Like, the housewives always look so glamorous and
Right.
rich and this and that, but, they still have stuff too, but sometimes it might be in the producer's best interest to not show us those things right
Yeah,
away.
and I will say about the New York ladies, like that last morning in the Hamptons where she did finally make the shashushka, shashka, shakusha, whatever it's called. Whenever she finally made it, which is just eggs and tomato sauce, they were all sitting there kind of in their pajamas, and whether they had on any makeup or not, it looked like they didn't have on any makeup. And
Mhm.
I kind of always like those scenes where the housewives are just like us. They sit around in their pajamas like we're doing right now.
I'm not in my
And
pajamas. This is my
oh, you're
workout clothes with a
oh,
shirt, a lovely button-down shirt over it.
okay, I'm sorry, it looked like a robe. Look at me, I'm in my
I
robe.
know, I love it.
I'm in my
It
magic robe.
it's gorgeous. Do you see my robe in the corner?
I do. It's very Blanche Dubois.
Thank you.
Um,
And Blanche Devereaux too, but whatever.
who's Dubois?
Um,
Is
cat
that
on a
streetcar
hot
name?
streetcar. Yeah, I was
Okay,
gonna
I
say
meant to
cat
say
on a
Blanche. God, I meant to say Blanche Devereaux. I'm sorry, I'm half. Again, I literally woke up at 8:04, turned on the second part of the Rachel interview, literally put it on my pillow and listened to it. And at one point, Dave goes, "Are you awake?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you're snoring." I was like, "Oh." So I was like, "Uh-oh, better rewind because I must have
Better
missed
s
some of that."
better sit up in the bed. I know. No,
Oh
but
my
no,
god.
I like to see him like that too because it does sort of it brings when people don't have that face of makeup on, I
Mhm.
think they feel a little more maybe they act a little more vulnerable,
Yeah.
maybe they feel a little more vulnerable, I don't know. But that face is an armor, that's for sure.
I also liked Erin's story about how she got into real estate, and of course, you and I both love to look at New York
Mhm.
apartments, so I loved that. I loved the whole thing about her mom, making deals with Angelina and Brad, and she's just in the next room coloring, and then they went to the
Mhm.
ballet. So it is interesting to hear her New York growing up story. Like she's a real New Yorker. She grew up there. Her, parents are in the real estate business. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, well, we can get to her, she bugs me, but whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are we going
Who
through
else?
each one or should we
Yeah,
just
let's go through each one and talk about our thoughts of this past episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jessel, go.
Jessel is who they have picked to be the
Pile on.
asshole.
Mhm.
Yeah. So next season, she's going to look like a
Soar.
genius. She's going to soar.
And
Jessel, just wait, girl. Just wait. It's coming
I
for you.
know. She's gorgeous in her confessional with that red
Mhm.
dress. Oh my god, she's just gorgeous. Stunning.
She's stunning. I love her accent. I think her husband's cute.
Uh-huh.
Um, uh, what are the kids' names or something
I
really
can't
bad? It's
remember.
like
I can't
Rio
remember.
and Cruz, but there's 2 Rios on this show, and I can't get over it.
Yeah, I know.
It's just
But
like Real Housewives of Dallas. There were 2 kids named Cruz.
I don't know. It's like
Anyway,
you live in New York. What are you doing? Rio?
it's like Rio and Gennaro. I don't know.
I
Anyway, it's not, but I don't know. But anyway, so I think that the whole family is beautiful, and I think that she has set her life that way. Here's my beautiful white apartment. Here's my good-looking husband. Here are my 2 perfect children. Here's my, haha, annoying mom, and this
Mhm.
is what everything looks like. Now, that's you
It's
can't
gonna get
sustain
it's
you
gonna
can't
get blown
sustain
up.
it. You
Yeah,
can't sustain it.
it's gonna blow up just like what we were saying. Like there's more behind. I mean, she we did get glimpses. She came here with nothing, or that's her story, and worked her way up and great. And like I did think, well, clearly she and Aaron are not friends in real life.
No, because that whole, "Oh, are you working?" I was
Yeah,
like, "Okay, that's a dig. That's a
that was
dig."
mean. I thought that was really mean. Like, well, I didn't know that you had I mean, that's the problem. That's your problem. You don't tell us anything. So what do we I'm like, "Oh my
I
god."
think she said she took a break when she had her
Well,
twins, but the twins are
which
almost 2.
yeah,
So,
but also, I mean, a lot of women take a break when they have children.
right, so Erin to s for Erin to say, "Are you working?" was the wrong way to phrase it. It should have been like, "Oh, okay, when did you go back?"
Yeah, or like, "Yeah, tell me, what are you up to now with that?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
"How's it going? How is it jumping
Uh-huh.
back in? Have you been back in for 6 months?" Or
Yeah,
yeah,
and you know
"Oh,
what? And on
are
that
you
note,
working?" as a dig. Yeah.
it's a total well, I mean, how am I supposed to know? And like, I mean, geez, I don't know. yeah, that bothered me a lot. It really just came off wrong. Or maybe
But
it came
you
off exactly the way she wanted it to.
but do you think Jessel saying, "Oh, Tribeca is up and coming," do you think that was her pretending to be dumb to do a dig? Or do you think she really just is very
Well,
involved in her own world and didn't know?
if so Jessel lives in Chelsea, which is like, you know, 20, I'll fuck this up, but 23rd Street-ish, West Side, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I like Chelsea. I stay there quite often with
Yep.
Ken when we go to the theater.
Yeah.
Um, and Tribeca's a long way down from there. I mean, it sounds
Mhm.
really dumb because everything that's, you're like, "Oh,
Everything
well,
in New York is far away.
it's all south of, south of Midtown or whatever," but it's a long way down there, and if you I mean, I there are a couple cool restaurants, and I think we've been to we went to Bubby's, which is, like, on the edge of Tribeca.
I went to Robert De Niro's restaurant in Tribeca.
Il Molino? Is
Mm-mm.
that Il Molino? Oh, I've
No,
been to Il Molino, and there's a lot of good Italian down there,
it's
but
not El Molino. It's literally called like Tribeca Grill or something.
oh, yeah, 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 okay.
And I went there with listener Abby Siegel,
Oh, yeah.
and we saw Seth, Seth, Seth from Family Guy.
Okay,
Help me.
are you losing your mind? Because Seth MacFarlane, we saw on the street on Fifth Avenue
I
filming.
saw him twice. I saw him twice. I saw him in Tribeca Grill. I was sitting with
He's
Abby
a
Siegel and Anna, at
Uh-huh.
my daughter, and he came up behind, and I was like, "That's the guy from Family Guy, Seth." Blah, blah. I couldn't. He had just
Mhm.
like hosted the Emmys or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then on our next trip there, we saw him on the street filming that scene
Mhm.
about somebody. I can't
Anyway,
remember.
Seth MacFarlane is weirdly good looking in person.
Yeah, he is.
He's
He
weirdly
looks a
good
little
looking.
bit like Peter Brady. A little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter loves everything he does. So when I came home from that trip and told her, she was like, "Oh my god."
And then isn't Tribeca also the place where that super fancy restaurant we've been to, and I also went with my husband, where like Beyonce goes and since been closed
Um,
with the
I
big staircase up the middle?
is that in Tribeca or is that in the
I can't
Village?
remember. You know that when I go to New York, if you're not with me,
I know.
I don't know anything about anything. I just look at everything on the map and go, this says 30 minutes. And Ingrid would probably tell me 45. So I'm going to add whatever way says 15 minutes. And then I look at, then I start to walk, and then my phone says, you're going the wrong direction
Oh,
every
yeah.
time. If I'm not
Oh,
with Ingrid, then I don't know. And
well,
I don't
thank you.
know. Yeah.
I always love it when people in New York on the street think I'm a local and they ask me directions somewhere. And
Uh,
usually I
and,
can help them.
and you should, and they
Yeah.
should. If you see Ingrid in New York, she knows where she's going.
Oh my god.
If you see me,
Anyway,
I'm walking behind her
well,
carrying too many bags.
look half a block behind me, you'll see Mary Payne. So my brother-in-law and his husband, it was his boyfriend at the time, had a loft. Well, it was actually his sister's, but whatever. Long story short, it was a huge loft in Tribeca, and it
Mm,
was like a six-floor walk-up. It was
mm,
cool, and that's part of why it's so attractive to like people Aaron's age with families and stuff because there was all these warehouses and like
mhm.
lofts and things that they could make into these giant apartments. So Steve and Brian, can I say their names? Stevie and Brian had this place that they stayed at because Brian's sister travels a ton for work and was never there. And they put up some, fake walls like you do in New York and made this great place. And I'm telling you, it reminded me of a basketball court, like that old wood, shiny
Yeah, yeah,
wood
yeah, yeah.
floor. And it was huge. I mean, huge.
But there's no, like, there's no wall to the ceiling, so if somebody's in
No,
another room, you can't actually hear everything that's going on.
yeah, you can, but whatever. But it was such a cool place, but they ended up having to leave and they wanted to leave anyway. They were kind of done with New York. They'd both done it for a really long time. Um, but that building was going to be made into condos, like big, fat, rich people condos. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
sat there forever. It sat
Oh.
forever. I think financing and this and that. But I will say when we were staying down there, and it's been a long time, it's been you know, I don't know how long they've been gone, but 15 years maybe. But 15 years ago, I mean, it was kind of a ghost town after a certain point at night.
Yeah.
Kind of like the financial district is sometimes a little bit ghost towny
Yes, that I
because
could see.
things close down.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
when the workday's over, people just go home. But
yeah.
I now there's obviously like great restaurants and stuff. But I mean, I I don't know if it's the most expensive. Maybe if you're buying a place, it's the most expensive zip code in New York. But I don't know.
That was
I
interesting
looked
that
it
she
up.
said that. That was interesting that she said it's the most expensive zip code in
Well,
New York. I'm
because
like, really? What
because
about
guess
like
what?
on Central Park is not the most expensive
Well,
zip code?
guess what though? Soho is also in that zip code. It's Tribeca and
Okay.
Soho.
All
So
right.
I think that's really where I don't know.
The
I'd rather
yeah,
live in Soho myself, but whatever.
yeah.
But Midtown is also really big, but it goes, I'll just tell you, for if you're going to rent, here are the most expensive. Soho area, Flatiron area, which of course is where my secret boyfriend has his lovely apartment.
Mhm.
I'm
Not
just
a
kidding.
secret.
It's not a
Mhm.
secret. Andy's not my boyfriend. Andy's married to somebody else. Anyway, um, Midtown, Midtown, which is where you're kind of talking about Central Park South and down there, kind of, by
Uh-huh.
that Time Warner building. And then Tribeca.
Is that where we stayed in Sabrina's sister's apartment? That was
No,
Midtown.
that was sort of Midtown East.
Oh,
Yeah,
whatever. It was still
it
Midtown.
was Midtown. It was Midtown.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely.
After after a week, I really knew where I was going.
Yeah.
It
It's a
took a
great
week.
place.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Anyway,
Rip.
I
Rip
could
to that apartment.
I know, no
Yeah.
kidding, right? So anyway, I don't know if I were going to go out for dinner or something, I'd go to the Village. I'm not
Me
sure I
too.
would go like to Tribeca unless I was going to Il Molino or something. But you remember Bubby's, right?
Yeah.
When we
Mhm.
went to Bubby's?
Yeah, you saw Adam Driver there.
Yeah, I did.
Everything in New York is about where Mary Payne or Ingrid saw a celebrity.
That's right.
That's how I remember everything, and they've most of them have all been at the Polo Bar, but we've seen them other places.
Oh yeah, we have. We've had great karma with
Don't 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 forget
some
it
celebrities.
don't forget about the Regency.
Oh my god, the Regency. Yeah, we can
Yep.
talk about that too.
Yeah.
Um anyway, so I don't love Erin because of that whole mess.
Okay.
And I know people are like, "Oh, she's the breakout star. She's the breakout star.
I don't think so.
She had a great week, blah blah blah. I love her." And I'm like, "I don't like her. I don't know." And I did look up her
Net
political
worth?
donations. No, political
We're
donations.
not talking about her political
I know.
donations.
I know. I just think the timing is it's not the amount. She barely gave anything, but the timing of them is just kind of funny, I think.
Well, what Brandy and Julie said about that, she and I were talking about it off mic, and she
Mhm.
said she comes from an Israeli family,
Mhm.
and that generally they're very supportive of certain political candidates. And probably her parents were like, "Hey, can you give $100 or whatever?" And she did. Um,
Right.
I don't think she's any right wing nut or anything like that. I
No,
really
no, no.
don't.
I don't think so either, but I will just say I mean, I looked it up on the FEC website cuz that's my role here at Pink Shade is to
Sure.
look up how much flights are and look how much hotels are that these ladies stay in and whatnot. But
Okay. Yeah,
November
don't say you've looked up flights as if you're paying for any flights. No, I don't
Oh, no, no,
want
no,
you
I'm
to
not.
besmirch my name that I'm
But
making
remember
you pay for your own shit.
But remember when we looked up how much a first class ticket to like Tahiti or wherever that real
Oh,
Ultimate Girls trip
yes.
was?
Yes, yes,
I was
yes,
obsessed with it.
yes.
Um, okay, so November 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th were her
Those were
donations, which was
oh.
post election, which
Oh,
I found very interesting because that's when he was saying this was stolen from me.
well, that is
I'm
interesting,
She didn't
and,
do it before the election. She did it after when he was making the plea for money to, find out the truth
it's
about the
interesting
election.
too because real estate people in New York generally do not like him from
Right,
a
because
real
he's
estate point of
yes.
view in the city.
Right.
Um, okay, I would like to no longer talk about this.
No, that's fine. I'm just
I
saying
don't wanna get in trouble
and
with
I
anybody.
don't and I truthfully, I really don't have a problem. Donate to whoever you want,
Of
whatever.
course.
And I'm saying I don't like her even if she would have donated to save the children or something. Like she just came off wrong to me in this episode.
She
And she
comes
just
across as elitist, she does.
and the why well, we're jumping ahead, but she just seems like she's looking for reasons to bitch. And people like that exhaust me. That's what I wrote. Erin is humorless and exhausting in big letters on
Wow,
my notes. Yeah.
wow. Well,
She's humorless.
I enjoy looking at her and her hair and her outfits. So, sometimes to
Mhm.
me, that's all I need to get me through. I just like to look at so that's sorta how I feel about Sheena Shea. I just
Mm.
enjoy looking at her and her crazy outfits and her cute little
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to just look at something shiny and pretty on my TV and not think about it too much.
I feel like if Jennifer Aniston and Stassi had a baby, it would be Erin.
That's a good one. And all three of those people I enjoy looking at quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um,
They all just seem
s-
sort of meh.
oh, well, I disagree with that.
One
So,
note, one note wonder.
disagree with
Anyway,
that. Disagree with that.
sorry.
All right. So, off of Aaron. Okay. Jessel. Okay. So, Jessel has this party at her home.
Mhm.
Again, all white furniture, lots of people.
Oh
Makes me
god,
nervous.
and you've got one-year-olds, like, come
Just
on.
running around, just smearing their snot everywhere, throwing up on furniture. She, but it was interesting that Jenna didn't go, and her reason was, "I get my kid for 2 weeks in December, and this is what I'm doing." Why she couldn't just say that and say, "I only get my kid for 2 weeks, and so," you know?
Well, I think it's because I I don't know how close she is to these women.
Right. I feel like she's naturally is friends with somebody. Who is it?
Maybe Uba or somebody, I don't know. I
Maybe it's
can't.
Jessel because they're, both in the fashion
The
industry. I
fashion.
don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I I kind of sympathize with Jenna a little bit because I think if she would have said it around that Friendsgiving table, they would have been
Yeah.
like, "Come on. Are you serious? Like, what? Like, you've
No,
got
how
2
about
weeks."
no,
Like, I don't know.
this
I
is
don't know if they would have given her a hard time or not. I'm just
I
saying
think
that.
she could have said, "This is the night I've already scheduled to decorate the tree with my kid, and so you're telling me about this now. I've already got something on my calendar." The end. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess she just went about it in a weird way, but,
Yeah, I think she's a little bit of an odd duck.
mhm.
And again, I really enjoy looking at her and her
Yeah.
fashions and her apartment and her weirdness. And she's got reason to be elite.
Yeah, she's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, I've known of her for years and
Me
years. Like, I
too.
remember
Me
when she
too.
got that job at J. Crew, and, um, yeah, I sort of enjoy her, and now I'm like, "Oh, I hope I go on her Instagram when she's selling some of her shit and see how much
God, me
stuff
too. I
costs."
was like, when she was talking about that storage unit and they went down, I was
Oh,
like,
I was
well,
like,
who organized this?
I was
Because this
like,
looks amazing.
this is the size of an apartment in New York, this
It's
storage unit.
it's also had like a conference table set
I
up in the middle of
know.
it.
I
I
thought
was
it
like,
was so
what?
fun. And you know what I loved was her senior project from Parsons and how she took a comforter
Hmm. I'm
and
trying to remember.
okay, so she was trying stuff on. Remember, she was like, and it kind of got a little like, "Meh. This
Yeah.
is when I met the Obamas. This is when I met Beyonce. This," and I loved her friend. Yeah, it's lovely. We're getting rid of it. Like that. I love that.
Yeah.
But then she pulled out her senior project from Parsons School of Design, and it was like a quilted jacket that kind of like had a giant hood neck
Yeah.
thing, and
Yeah.
I have a like a vest like that, and I love it. I look like a Weeble Wobble in it, and she kinda looked like a Weeble Wobble too, but she said Donna Karan maybe was her like, the final project grader or whatever,
Yeah.
and said, "You really need to quilt this thing." And she had no money to quilt it because, it's like extra fabric,
Yeah.
extra filling, all that stuff. So she bought a comforter and just reworked the comforter into this, like, puffy jacket, and I
Mhm.
was like, I love that story. I would listen to those stories for days.
Yeah.
Leave out the Obama and the Kate Middleton and the bullshit. Like, give me that. I love that. So anyway, she is really fun to watch and she seems pretty comfortable with herself and
Yeah, I wonder
you
if by
know,
the end of the season we will see her girlfriend because she's very open with her girlfriend on social media now. So I wonder if by the end of it,
maybe.
maybe
Yeah.
we'll see if it's a long-term relationship, maybe we will see this person on camera. I did like
Yeah.
seeing her son. They didn't show him much, but
He was a cutie. Yeah.
he was cute and I love listen, if I was there and somebody was trying to throw tinsel on my tree, I too would lose my mind. So I can't
I
imagine
know.
with how everything in her life is so just so. And
Yeah.
you've got people this it reminds me of my friend Alyssa, who you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
who at the end of every Christmas, they take all the ornaments off the tree and with the lights, everything, she puts it on the curb. She's like, "We're starting
Ah.
over next year. I don't want these lights. I don't wanna have to wind them up. I don't
Mhm.
care. The
Mhm.
end. They cost me $12. I don't care." She puts everything on the curb, and she can't take it. She can't take it. She
Mhm.
tells the kids to decorate the tree, and then when they leave the house or go to bed, she redecorates the entire tree. Yes, to her liking.
Well, yeah, and you could see it on Jenna's face, that was pretty genuine, like,
Yeah.
where she's like, deep breaths," where they're, like, throwing
Who was
ornaments
the
at the
guy,
tree.
though?
The
Who was
chef?
that guy?
It was her chef and friend.
there was a guy there, and I was like, "Is this her ex-husband?" Because they're all
No,
like, "Oh,
no.
hey, it's Brad," or whatever, and I
Yeah,
was
no,
like, "Are we supposed to know who he is?"
it's her chef and her friend.
I want a
Someday I
chef.
aspire to have a chef and friend as well. I mean, I have a
I just
friend, but I could use
it's
one that's a chef.
yeah, it's not me. Literally, when I think about things that I would do if I was ultra wealthy, it wouldn't be have a driver, it wouldn't be helicopter, it would be chef. It would be have somebody
Oh,
cook for me.
well, how about when your kids were small?
Yeah.
Then you really needed a chef.
Well, that's why we have Little Spoon.
Mm,
That's
that's
why we
tell
have
me
Little Spoon. It's
tell
a
me
new
all about it.
sponsor, I guess. Okay. So Little Spoon is a new sponsor, guys, and they have food from like babies up to big kids. So they have these little biteables, they have little pouches, and they have baby food. Everything is organic. It's like homemade, comes right to your door. And you and I have discussed this. What would we have done for someone to have given us some food in the refrigerator that we could have pulled out and given to our children as a meal? Like that time of night at 5:30,
Yeah.
can you remember having like a kid and a baby Bjorn and a
Oh,
2-year-old like, "Rah!" And you're
yeah.
like, "Where's Dora the Explorer?" Because that's what we had back then, guys. We
Mhm.
didn't have Peppa Pig.
No.
And it was the worst time of night. You're trying to like bring them in from outside. They're disgusting.
Everyone's
They won't take a
melting
bath.
down, or you
Everyone's
take
melting
them in from the
down.
pool and they're just starving, and you're like, "I was at the pool too. I wasn't here making you food."
And then you've got to make some food and then cut it into the proper size so nobody
Mhm.
chokes on your watch. And to have something like Little Spoon back then, I really can't even get over it. So I sent it to my great nephew James. I have 2 more babies coming in my family soon.
I
Exciting.
know. I only have
He,
one baby,
I know. Well, you've
and
got yeah.
it's the 4th one for my sister, and I'm not sure what that kid's eating. I think just, like, whatever falls on the ground.
I know.
I'm
I
not
know.
sure.
She needs to
She
get
needs
Little
Little
Spoon
Spoon.
for
Mhm.
sure because she's got kids of all ranges. And
Yes, she
so
does.
listen, I sent it to James and she said he all of a sudden has become super picky. He wasn't super picky before,
I
but now he
that's how
is.
they are, yeah.
She's literally like, he will only eat like, mac and cheese and like cut up hot dogs or something. So she gave him the Little Spoon mac and cheese, which has like hidden veggies in it.
Mhm.
Ate it up, loved it, and he also loved the little squeezy smoothies,
Oh,
which you like
yeah.
pop them out of the fridge, and they didn't have even the squeezy
No.
packs when our kids were
I
little.
know. I know.
So you guys go over to littlespoon.com and the code is pink shade. So you go littlespoon.com/pink shade, littlespoon.com/pink shade. The code is pink shade. You're going to get 30% off. 30% off is a
That's a
lot.
lot.
It is a lot.
Wow. Hey, I
Yep.
remember the first time that my kids ate real food was, an experience. Well, they eat that cereal stuff first, right?
Right.
Like, you try
Yeah.
to do that.
The little puffs. The
And
little
then when
puff.
I g well, no, no, like, the cereal you mix with, like, water
Oh,
or
yeah.
breast milk or
Yeah.
formula or whatever, and that goes everywhere. But then I decided to be real, like, naturey, and I blended up a bunch of avocado and,
Hmm.
like, sweet potato and put it in ice cube trays and put it in my freezer, and then you'd take out 1 cube and, like,
Uh
put it in the
huh.
microwave and stir it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lasted about, 2 weeks.
I was about to say, I don't know who this person is that did that because that's wild. You could have just had Little Spoon and saved
I
yourself the time.
know. I know. Oh my god, anyway, okay.
Okay. All
So,
right.
yeah, no, but I'd take a chef for myself at this point too, FYI.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Think
Yeah.
about how great I would look if I had a chef.
Oh,
That's that's my narrative. So, all right. So we talked about Jessel, Bryn,
wait,
Aaron.
can we go back to Bryn for a hot second?
Yeah, and then I want to go to Jessel's party. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But Bryn is very interesting because she had such a terrible growing up. And so she said, well, now I'm doing all the things as an adult that I didn't get to do as a kid. So I've taken fencing classes. I wanted to take ballet when we were a kid. And I have taken violin and piano and chess. And she's going to be in a chess tournament. And
Yes, that's
I just
crazy.
wanted to say that that is just fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
I love that so much because as a grown up person, I learned how to snow ski and I learned how to do trapeze and I still do that. And I got into yoga and I just bought some watercolors because I took a class in Tuscany and now I'm
Of
going to
course
do
you did.
that. And like,
Of
I
course you
am a
did.
person who really loves to try new things and I'm never going to win a chess tournament
Hmm.
or any kind of tournament at all. But I've taken up tennis. I never win, but I don't
Yeah.
care. It's just really fun to do something new. And that endeared her to me or something because I
Yes.
was like,
Yes.
this is a woman who really knew a shit childhood. And she's
Yeah.
like embracing her time and money now to do the things
Mhm.
that she wanted to do. And I kind of love that. And I love that she went to this chess match and just probably got just like
Yeah.
slaughtered and was like, all right, whatever. But
But
she
she
did
learned.
it. But
Yeah,
she
but she did
played
it.
chess at a chess match. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
it's hard to put yourself out there. So I kind of love
Yeah.
that. I love that.
And I
Anyway.
and I liked her story about growing up biracial and her grandmother
Hmm.
not knowing how to do her hair, but dropped her at the salon once a week, and that's where she learned to, embrace, other Black women
Hmm.
who accepted her and taught her how to do her hair and all that. I really
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that we're like I said, we're getting so much from these women so early,
Hmm.
that they must really have a lot, or they had to put all this out there because they lost one whole character. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Or maybe they're trying something new. Maybe the
Yeah,
producers are
right.
like, we've tried this other thing. Let's try this. I don't
Let's
know.
try to really show everybody who they are right away. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
but the party.
okay, so the redheaded lady, I went and looked her up. I literally had to look up red-haired, short lady,
Oh,
worked for Vogue, Cupid doll, red cheeks. Because if you look up redheaded lady that works for
it's
Vogue, who
gonna
do
be Grace.
it's Grace
Uh,
Coddington.
yeah.
That's not who I wanted. I wanted this other character who just, I guess, worked for the Village Voice and all this, and she was like a lady on the street. And then they had a whole like whose name just went out of my head, fashion show, not Tom Ford, someone like that. Who's that other really good looking designer? Not Tom Ford, uh, that other man. But he did a whole fashion show based on her look
Oh
with
my
with
god.
the little lips and the red and then the big skirts. Um, yeah,
That it felt as somebody who does circus,
yeah.
it felt very circusy.
That's her
And I think
costume.
that's her day every day is
That's what she wears.
yeah.
She
It
keeps her
was
bangs like that. Like it's interesting.
I mean, yeah. It was
It's interesting that
interesting.
Bryn was like, "Okay, this is a legit party." You
I
know?
know. Well, and
Yeah.
the editor of Paper magazine, and then,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, all the little chyrons with people's names and titles. I was like, oh, she really got people down to Chelsea.
Right. She didn't
I
get Jenna
was
Lyons, but that's okay.
That's okay, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was impressive. And was that purse really made out of salmon skin?
I've never heard of that, but that doesn't mean it's not true. Um,
Yeah,
it's probably more eco-friendly than a lot of other things.
and much thinner. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't eat salmon. I don't know. I just have
Uh,
seen them being
yeah.
swimming upstream and the
Did
bear's
you
trying to grab them.
did you like the did you like the bags?
Barely noticed the bags, was too interested in what's happening on the couch and Aaron poo-pooing the 2 buck chuck. And
And
I
I
don't think
loved
it
how
was 2 buck chuck.
she had to have asked for, no offense, Mary Payne. She had to have asked for ice cubes in that wine.
Yeah.
And I was like, how judgy can we be here?
Well, some
I mean,
people like ice in their wine
no,
if
and
they
that's
enjoy a
fine,
cold
but like if
beverage.
you're if
Yeah.
you're gonna be all like snooty about the wine,
Yeah.
eh,
Yeah. Listen, here's the thing. I'm sure there were other things you could drink at that party. So if you took a sip
yeah,
of the wine and you didn't like it, go get a different drink. Yeah.
yeah, and she made like such a thing out of it, and I was like, God, you're a bitch. Uh,
Yeah. It was bitchy to be like, taste this. It's
And
horrible.
she really wanted a medal for showing up. Well, the baby's sick.
Yeah. Well, then
His
he probably shouldn't have
107
come.
he has 107 temperature. I'm like,
If your
then don't
baby is
come.
107, then you don't need to be at this party and it's not a flex. You should
You
have stayed home with your
What you
baby.
need to do is go buy a new thermometer that works. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that party was kinda legit, and so that made me kind of think more of, um, Jessel as far
Mhm.
as a business lady doing business things. Now, let's see, have we covered everybody? We got Erin, we got Jessel, we got Bryn, we got Jenna, we got Sai. Uba! We need to talk about Uba.
Uba. Well, we didn't see a ton of Uba this episode, but
Do you remember when you and I saw Uba at the Polo Bar?
yes, I do remember that.
And her photo was,
Was
like, on the
on
wall
the
upstairs.
wall.
So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
It was on the wall, like,
She was
next to
at
the
a
bar.
table full of, like, men.
Yes, I
Remember
do
that?
remember
'Cause
that.
there was no women there. Yeah.
Mhm. She is
And
stunning.
people were
Stunning.
coming over to her and yes.
Congratulate whatever, yeah.
Yeah. "Oh, thank you, darling." Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she is got to be 6'2". She's
Yeah.
so tall and
She's
so thin and so
spectacularly
beautiful.
gorgeous, yeah. She's just funny. I think she's really funny. I wanna learn more about her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Fi" and her accent is so charming. "Find yourself a bald man." A short, bald man.
They'll
He
always look
will
up at you like
he'll
you're
look
a
a yeah,
goddess.
like you're a goddess, and I'm like, "Huh, well, she's probably not wrong."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm sure there's no lack of that man in New York City. Yeah.
that's true, he can stand on his money
Stand on his money.
to bring him up to eye height. Look
Yeah.
in each other's
But,
eyes.
that would be a great photo shoot for somebody. For a short man, right? To just like if they were trying to do like a photo shoot for a magazine or even for maybe
Mhm.
their social media or whatever to stand on
Yes,
their
but
money.
guess what?
Yes.
That would never happen because those guys have egos that are
Right.
driven by all kinds of things, right? You're
I
never
think it
gonna
would be
see Jeff
hilarious.
Bezos standing on a pile of money next to a
Ferrari.
supermodel.
Yes. I think if you had a Ferrari and a yacht in the background standing on your money with a supermodel next to you, I think that would tell you all you need to know.
Yes, I have a small penis.
Oh my gosh, I'll tell you, I know that you don't watch any of the shows that we cover, but on 90 Day the Other Way, there's a couple, it's TJ and Kimberly, and she has gone over to India. She's from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and
Oh.
she's gone over to live with this family. As she's there, she's starting to realize, oh, hey, in a typical Indian family, I am required to, like on Tuesdays, I do the washing, and on Thursdays, I do the clothes, and on Friday, I clean the floors. And,
Oh.
this is not going to fly with me, and he hasn't
Right.
really explained that to her. So she's kind of like, is this what's happening here? But it is interesting because when they were first there, they got into a big fight, and she was like, "You're acting like a dick." That's what she said.
Oh.
And he, he's fluent in English, and he just told her later because he was so upset about that one word. And she's like, "Here's the thing: I get mad and I cuss. It's what happens. It's part of me. I'm never gonna not do it. Okay." And that's how I feel. Okay, like I'm sorry, you have to get over it.
Mhm.
Well, he was like, "But you said the thing. You said dick. You said dick." And she was like, "Okay, you're a dickhead. You're an asshole. You're a jerk. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, you're acting like a jerk. You're acting like a, asshole. Like, what do you want me to say?" And he explained to her later after they weren't fighting that her calling him a dick to him in his mind, because English is not his first language,
Uh-huh.
he hears literally penis. Like, you're calling me a part of a body, And she was like,
You
it
are a
doesn't.
pinky finger.
She's like, it really literally doesn't mean you're my earlobe. It doesn't mean I think of you like a penis. And
No.
he's like, women just don't refer to the penis or whatever. And she's like, okay, now I know. And I get mad at you not to call you a dick because you don't understand that's a phrase like asshole, like
Right.
also asshole is
But
a
what about asshole?
part.
Does asshole
Yeah.
work?
He understands asshole, but
Okay.
he didn't understand dick. And it's so
Well, now he
funny because
does.
he went downstairs and was like telling his brother and his parents all about the fight as if they couldn't hear it because they're right above. He kept saying, "Dick, dick, she called me dick, dick." He kept saying, "Dick, dick."
Oh my
She
god.
said, "Dick, dick." She says, "Oh, women should not say these words, dick, dick." Um, but it's so interesting now. Whenever anybody says dick, I think about it. Other people watching it from other countries, and if they aren't used to that turn
Mhm.
of phrase, like you're acting like a dick, they really do think, "Oh, wow, she's literally referring to his man area, and women should not speak of these things."
Oh, Jesus God. Wow.
That's just a total sidebar. Okay, so we've
Sidebar.
talked about RHONY. Now we have to quickly, and I don't want to
Quick.
delve into this too much, talk about fucking Bethenny. Now, my whole life, and maybe even still, love Bethenny.
Mhm.
But my God, girl, you're doing too much. You're doing all the things. You're creating unions. You're trying on makeup. You're going to Applebee's. You're in your closet showing us the CVS foundation. And you know what? I've taken a lot of her advice and bought some of the things from CVS. And you know what? She's right. They work. But
Why is she eating
okay,
lobster by candlelight?
she's eating lobster. She's shoving crawfish in her mouth. She's returning shoes to TJ Maxx that are fake Manolo Blahniks. Like, she's just doing too much. She needs a 9 to 5 go into an office job.
Do you know what it feels like to me a tiny bit?
Hmm.
Feels a tiny bit like the manic side of a bipolar kind of episode.
This is your thoughts and feelings and do not represent the thoughts and
No,
feelings in Pink Shade
a pink
LLC.
shade. No, no, no. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, she seems so like doing all the things all the time. You know, like, and
Yeah.
I feel like there have been times where she's been like this before, but then there's also times when she's been like kind of like just living her life or whatever. And I don't know, it just comes off very chaotic and desperate in a weird way.
It's interesting when she did the podcast with Jill,
Mhm.
which they have very equal blah, 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 energy,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
it's like if you put like Heather McDonald in there, like nobody would speak
Right.
because like all three of it's just a
Well,
lot of talking over,
everybody would speak all the time.
and then you never can get a point. And it was
No.
a little bit like that.
Mhm.
And she was saying to Jill, which I thought was interesting, she's like, "This is going to be on Rewives, and then we'll do another one for Just Be whatever." I was like, "Okay, I forget that she actually has like three separate podcasts
Mhm.
that is her talking about three separate subjects." I was like, to me, that could be streamlined. That could be
Yes.
streamlined.
Yes.
So she did this interview with Raquel Levice, Rachel from Vanderpump Rules, who it seems that at the beginning we thought maybe she was at some sort of a spa, whatever. She was, in fact, at a legit place that, we looked up. Um, and she was there for 90 days, which
But
anybody will tell you is the length of
that's
time you
the
should go.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
you think you're great at 30, but you really gotta stay the 90 because things fall
yeah.
apart around day 32.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's my experience in this house. And so I appreciated her explaining all of that,
Mhm. Me too.
but Bethany inserting herself in it and over explaining she's never watched this show. She just sort of watched the Scandal part. So she knows the game, not the players. So okay, it's very akin to Sandoval going on Howie Mandel. Like
Very.
now who's Sheena? Huh?
Yeah, no,
Like
it was Howie 2.0. And because Bethany thinks that she's, I don't know, like the reality TV expert or something,
mhm,
she
mhm,
thought she could do this interview without doing the work.
mhm.
And that was one thing my sister and I were screaming at each other about. I mean, of course, we weren't screaming at each other. We were screaming the same things to each
Mhm.
other, kind of like Bethany and Jill.
Yeah,
Um, but we were like, you have to do the if you're gonna go get this interview, which is a pretty big deal. I mean, she hasn't said
totally.
anything to anybody and she picked Bethany.
Mhm.
I feel like you have to do the work, or else you're disrespecting your listeners, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
And And frankly, like, you're gonna bring in a whole bunch of listeners because they want the Rachel thing,
Yeah,
that have
right.
never listened to Bethany, who maybe hate Bethany. So this
Right.
was your shot to be, like, very well informed and very thoughtful about your questions. I found that she was very, anxious to put words in Raquel's mouth. And I'm sorry I keep calling her Raquel. She's Rachel now. She
Mhm.
was Rachel all the time until 1st grade, and then she changed her name because there were 2 other Rachels, which, I mean, I guess that's fair. Uh,
All of that I get.
mhm, yeah, but I was an
Now
Ingrid, so there was really nobody named Ingrid in my entire town,
well,
except till later.
Same
Yeah,
with Mary Payne.
yes.
Um, you know, please tell me, because again, like I said, I heard it, but I was obviously half asleep, even though I thought I was hearing it. Explain to me what Raquel said about her mother gave her up to her aunt.
Oh, okay.
So her parents are her parents are her parents. Her parents adopted her, those are her parents.
Yeah.
We can all understand that. But
Okay, I'm gonna
she said on the show that her aunt is her biological mom. She still sees her aunt, who is actually her biological mom.
Yes,
Yes?
yes. So here's what happened. It sounds to me like, and she didn't explain it in depth or anything, but I got the point. Her her mom and her dad, who
Uh-huh.
raised her,
Yes.
couldn't have children.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And so her mom's sister had
Uh-huh.
a baby and gave it to her sister to raise. There was never any indication that this was like her biological mom had problems or wanted to keep her or didn't keep her or whatever. It was kind of like a surrogate situation.
Well, that's my question. Was it a surrogate situation or was
I
it
don't know
sort of
I don't know whose egg it was, and I
was
don't know
it it
how.
wasn't like an unplanned teenage pregnancy.
It doesn't sound like that. It sounds like if, for instance, if I couldn't have a baby,
Uh-huh.
um, and we implanted or maybe got a sperm donor for my sister to have a baby for me,
Uh-huh.
it sounds like that, where you are like,
Yeah.
I know what I'm getting into going into this. I'm not going to try to keep this baby. I don't That's not my jam here.
Mhm.
I'm doing this because I love my sister and she wants a baby. That's what it
Okay.
sounded like to me. It didn't sound um traumatic.
It didn't sound like sister got accidentally pregnant and then gave up her baby to her sister.
And then it was this huge big drama. Uh,
Family thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it maybe felt dramatic or something, but I don't think, I don't know. I think it's kind of just like families get made in all kinds of different ways now, and
Right,
she's not that
right.
old. She's only 28. Like, that's a
Yeah.
legit thing to do, you know?
Yeah, at one point, Bethan's like, "How old are you?" I was like, "This is also something maybe you should have known."
Let me Google that for you. Um,
Yeah, wow.
so I what bugged me about a lot of this. So we listened to the first part yesterday.
Yeah,
Second part we got up and listened to today.
yeah.
I thought yesterday was way juicier, but whatever.
Well, I wouldn't know because I obviously fell asleep halfway through today.
um, I feel like Rachel's choice of words, she was really, really careful.
Mhm.
Felt very rehearsed. I know
Uh-huh.
I saw little clips. I don't think she had notes in the pictures that I saw, but I mean, it felt like she was really thinking about her answers hard,
Yeah.
and um, was almost self-editing at points. But she said,
Mhm.
"I do want to acknowledge the pain I've caused a lot of people."
Mhm.
I was like, "Apologize. Say apologize. I want to apologize for the pain
Mhm.
I've caused." And I don't know why that bothered me so much, but it really did.
She's been in therapy for 3 solid months every single day. So she is coming out of this with all of the therapy talk and the therapy words,
Mhm,
and that's great. And that's
mhm,
great. It's recovery talk, and that's also great. I think that I, Bethany did ask her, "Hey, you made this apology. Do you stand by it?" And she said, "Yeah, I totally stand by the apology."
yeah. I
So
just
she's already apologized.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
what kind of what
fine.
I thought. Yeah,
I
that's kind of what I
think
thought.
I just wish, I don't know. I just wish she wouldn't have taken on such a victim role here. Like, I understand it because she was vulnerable from her relationship with James, and she picks unavailable dudes,
Mhm.
and that was a thing that Tom saw in her and could, whatever. But then she also says, well, this affair wouldn't have happened if their relationship weren't a business, uh,
Right.
a business thing. Like, she said, if I would have seen longevity in their relationship, this would have never happened.
That's not true.
And I was like, they've been
That's
together for like nine
almost
years or
10,
10
yeah, almost
years,
10 years. So
10
yeah,
years.
there's
Like, that's longevity. Now, whatever happens in their relationship is
mhm,
really not any of your business. All you
mhm,
know is that it's a relationship of some sort. Now, if he was
mhm.
telling her, "Oh yeah, we're broken up,"
We're just
uh,
business partners. We're
if
just
they're
pretending to be
really,
together.
if it just the whole thing just really came off as disingenuous to me, this interview, because I remember that um that conversation, I think it was on the very last episode, not the reunion, but where
Mhm.
she was talking to Ariana about like their sex life, and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and Ariana's like, I think he's the hottest thing ever, and I-
Yeah.
whatever. And I was like, but so when did she think that the relationship was over? Like, I don't know. Something is just not adding up with it. I
But then
think
you see all
she's
the timeline and stuff, and then it's like in February, they had this Ariana and Tom had this big Valentine's thing, and they had gone to therapy, and they were trying to get back together, and they were having sex, and all that was
Mhm,
true, and Tom said it all was true. He was telling Rachel something totally different. Listen, I feel this really strongly in 2 ways. I feel that Raquel was sort of a victim of Tom,
mhm,
right? Sort of
mhm,
taking advantage of her, being like a vulnerable girl. She's an adult, she can make her own decisions, and she made bad ones, but I do feel that she's a victim of sort of this older guy who she thought was so great, so he's the one that was in the
Well,
relationship.
exactly. Totally.
So
Totally.
he's at fault. So I think that we can all agree, like we're done, bashing her
Mhm.
because she's had it, and we're done with that. And it seems to me, if she's in a mental health facility for 3 months, then she's done the work. So we
Mhm.
need to respect that. I think the issue that I have is having the interview with Bethenny because she's got the platform, and all of a sudden now she's like SAG after for reality stars. That'll go nowhere. She'll be on to something else next month.
Mhm.
But the interview with Bethenny, I guess, is my issue. She
Yeah.
could have done an interview with so many other people that cover Bravo,
Mhm.
that cover it thoughtfully,
Well, no,
and
no, that was calculated. She didn't
yeah,
wanna go on someone's show where they knew the ins and outs of everything of the season,
yeah,
because then the questions would have been harder.
yeah. It would have been
I
like,
mean,
okay, well, you're saying this, but what
it
about,
wouldn't have been sympathetic. Bethany
yeah.
was clearly Bethany was very sympathetic, and she and Rachel knew that going in, and so therefore it's not
Bethany was
really a real.
crying.
Yeah, I know.
Bethany was crying.
Okay, I would like to just point out Bethany was crying about the stuff that was said at the reunion about
Yeah.
Rachel by all the
Which would
girls, really.
which was terrible. We can
It
agree.
was terrible. It was a lot of piling on. I mean, I don't like it either, but I'm going to just remind everybody in like 2016,
Mhm.
um Bethany
Yes.
said, "What man have
Okay.
I ever rolled up on? What married man have I ever slept with? What 25-year-old did I ever fuck?" And then give my friend shit about, "You are a hypocrite. You fuck everyone. You pretend you don't." Bethany shouted, this is to Luann,
Uh-huh.
listen to this part. "You are a slut and a liar and a hypocrite and a snake."
Yeah.
And there's
And
more.
you stole my haircut.
That's right. You stole my haircut.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more of those types of quotes. Bethany's just part of this whole thing. Listen, people
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, I think Bethany must have paid her for this interview, yada yada." Now, we don't pay your co-hosts might get
Yeah.
a tiny stipend because they're regulars and that's great. But like when we have a special guest on Thursdays or something,
Right.
we don't pay them. It's not like we're paying people for like journalists don't pay for interviews,
Correct.
which is fine, but Bethany's not a journalist.
No,
And maybe
no,
she should,
she's not.
and she's going to get a lot of clicks from this. Maybe she should share the wealth. But I've read that she did not pay Rachel for the interview that she did.
I saw that she got paid $10,000.
Oh, well, maybe it'll come out
Yeah.
what the real truth is.
But I gotta tell you that as far as that goes, guys, when people come on this podcast as a guest, so like I had Mark L. Wahlberg,
Yeah,
I'm
we
gonna
don't
have Emily and Kobe coming up. I've interviewed the Plaths. Like, well, you don't,
pay for that.
you do not pay for that, and absolutely not. Now, when I have regular co-hosts, Kimberly, Keisha, Katie, whatever, I do pay them.
It's a big commitment because they're sharing in the workload.
They're sharing the workload, so I do pay them. But um, if, let's just say, Kimberly found herself in some hot mess with a married man, and she came on as my guest, just throwing Kimberly under the bus, and she came on as a guest for me to interrogate her about this, she would not be paid.
No.
So listen, if Bethenny wants to pay her $10,000 and that's Rachel's, what she's going to sell her story for, great. She could
Hmm.
really hold off and could probably get $1 million from People Magazine.
Hmm.
So, and that also would make it glossy and shiny for her. This is
Yeah,
self-serving for Bethenny. And because Bethany's trying to
I
do this,
completely agree.
reality stars, need money. And listen, I agree. How many times do I just like for comfort, like turn on old RHONYs? Well, those ladies aren't getting paid for that. But if you turn on Everybody Loves Raymond, they're getting paid for that,
Hmm.
right? Like
Hmm.
like Doug Buden talks about, he gets $20 checks every so often for his 2 appearances on Friends.
Right.
So Bethany does have a point. She just goes about everything in a look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me way,
Hmm.
and not in it's a very similar to a Tom Sandoval. I'm out here helping you because I want you to talk about how great I am.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Bethany's
yeah,
out
yeah.
here
This is
helping.
completely, no, it's completely self-serving, and I mean, and disingenuous, and I was really disappointed. I mean, not that I expected anything. I for one have never really liked Bethenny. I've just
Mhm.
never appreciated or um enjoyed seeing her. So
I
maybe
just
I
think
went in some jaded, but
maybe I just like that she's quick. Her
she's
quick
quick.
humor.
She's quick. She's quick.
I
But
I don't like her
I
new
think
soapbox.
she's a
No.
little bit like she thinks she's maybe smarter than she is.
Oh, absolutely.
And people like that bug me.
All right,
I
I have
also was
something I
just
wanna
gonna
close
say
out with when you're ready.
that's fine. I just wanted
Okay.
to also say that, like, I don't know, rewriting history is not attractive either. We've all seen the show. We've all seen her friendship with Ariana.
Yeah.
Um, and that really bothered me a lot.
To say that they were not friends at all off camera when
Yeah.
plenty of times in the off season we saw them, just people would be at restaurants and take pictures of them together.
Yeah,
So,
that
that's not
really that
true.
just really bothered me too because then it throws this doubt into everything you say. You know, when someone catches you in some sort of lie, then they don't trust anything you say, right?
Mhm.
So like whatever. Anyway, that's all I have on that.
The last thing I wanna talk about, and that we'll wrap it up, is that, um, Carol Radziwill was on Heather's podcast, Juicy Scoop, that you and I both are fans of, and she said that she knew because Michael Cohen, former Trump attorney, told her that he's the one that took the picture at the Regency of Tom and that girl. Now, get ready for this scoop, everybody. Okay, because here we go. Ingrid and I were in New York City around that exact same time. On one weekend, we saw Tom at the bar with a girl, not what's my friend Whitney's friend, not that girl. That was the
Missy.
Missy, not Missy, who my friend Whitney was like in her wedding, not her.
My friend was in her wedding too.
Isn't that wild?
Yes.
So, okay, so not Missy.
Somebody
On
else.
that same trip, after Tom had that date at the bar at the Regency that we saw with our own eyes, we didn't know
Mhm.
who the girl was, and it was just like she left, and then he sat at the bar alone for a while.
Mhm.
That girl then took to Facebook to say, "I just had a blind Tinder date with Tom
With Tom.
D'Agostino." Right.
Yeah.
So this was after he and Luann had broken up. They had
Mhm.
broken up, but they were like kind of broken up. I mean, it was just several months later. So then
Yeah.
that same weekend, not only did we see Taylor Hawkins at the Foo Fighters, who we stopped and spoke to, RIP, we also had a pretty gross conversation with Harry Dubin where he attempted to feel up Ingrid and ask her if she was happily married, and then tell us too bad he couldn't go with us to the polo bar, of which we had not invited him to go with us to the polo bar.
No.
Okay.
But he did show us his phone and he was
Yes.
calling
Trying to call Sonia,
Sonia and
Aviva.
Aviva. Mhm.
Uh-huh. Then he told us, here's a little piece of information for your podcast. I used to date Kelly Ben Simone, and nobody knows that.
Oh
We're
my
like,
god.
have another drink, Harry. Okay.
Yeah, that was bad. But
But
then I
that
was like
same weekend,
somebody said, "Well, Michael Cohen lives here." And I was like, "What?" Because that's when he was still
uh, he was sort of under
deeply in
indictment,
he was yeah, but he was deeply in
but he was going to jail at that point. But
but he wasn't in jail yet. So
sentenced.
I saw him walk in the door and I was like, "I'm
And this
following
was
him."
I believe it was when we saw Michael Cohen walk in the door of the Regency. He lived there, guys. So
Mhm.
he was there that same weekend. He very easily could have. These guys are always at the fucking Regency. What I'm telling
And
you
the
is,
bar,
we've been to
yeah.
the Regency many times. We've seen all these people there.
Mhm.
We even saw that Fox News guy there
Uh-huh, we did.
on a date with the dude,
Yeah.
Fox News that guy. And okay, when we saw Michael Cohen, it was because I believe we went twice in one day, but we went like 4 times that weekend because we were having such luck. I believe it was in the afternoon where we saw Michael Cohen walk through. He had on a pink shirt
Pink, like,
with
large polo shirt, like,
I feel
with sleeves and
I feel like it was one of those untuck it shirts where you rolled
yeah,
it up and it's
yeah.
like a different pattern on the sleeve.
Oh, I don't know, something like that, but it was untucked, and it was a
And he
button-down collar.
Yeah, and he walked through and you said, "That's Michael Cohen." I go, "Ooh, gross, that attorney." And Ingrid hopped up. Now we know that there's a photo, we just can't find it.
Yeah, he was getting on the elevator, otherwise I may
Yeah,
have given him a piece of my mind, because that's where we were in the process at that point.
yeah. It was before he went to jail, but he was in trouble at that point.
Mhm, mhm, and he was denying everything. Anyway, whatever, doesn't matter. We're not
Yeah,
gonna talk
I
politics,
would
but I was like I was ready, and I hadn't even been really drinking. This was the afternoon, and
yeah.
maybe we ordered a glass of wine. I don't know. I don't even know,
I
but
don't know if we were,
I
but
wasn't
I
like
think
3 sheets chasing after Michael Cohen. I was like
no, 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 that was later when we saw Harry Dubin. But I think that if you read Giancarlo Grande's book about being the pool boy and the whole thing with the Falwells and all that,
Mhm.
Michael Cohen is featured very heavily in it, and also the documentary, and all of that was going on. And Michael Cohen did live at the Regency, and we did see him there. So the fact that he said he took that picture, and Bethenny has denied that and said that's not true, 100% he did. Why would
Yeah.
he tell Carol Radziwill this out of the fucking blue?
Yeah,
He's
I
got
know.
no skin in this. He's got no skin in this game. What does
No,
he give a shit about the Real Housewives?
he had plenty of other problems at that
He's
point.
been to prison. What does he care? He didn't give a shit about this. So yes, he's telling the truth. And maybe he took the picture and sent it to Dennis, who sent it to Bethenny, and maybe Bethenny never knew that
Yeah.
Michael Cohen took it. But Michael Cohen took that picture. We saw
Mhm.
him at the Regency.
Yeah, I totally buy that. Plus everybody and plus that was like his whole MO was like getting information on people.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like that was his
yeah,
whole deal was
yeah. And I'm sure Dennis was like, hey, if you ever see Tom there, take a picture. So
yeah,
yes, it didn't happen the weekend we saw him because they were already
right.
separated at
They were
that point
separated. Mhm.
from their little brief marriage. But for sure, these guys are always at the Regency. Michael Cohen lived in that hotel,
Yeah.
the Lowe's Regency, whatever. It's
It's
1 block from Sonia's townhouse. You
mhm.
pass Sonia's townhouse to get to the
It's
Regency.
like 82nd
You know, I
Street
don't
and
know the answer to
Madison.
that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think we do have that Harry Dubin picture though.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh yeah, we
Mm.
do. Here's some
It's
information
actually
for
a
your
real cute
podcast.
it's a real cute picture of the 2 of us, so when if I've used
Me
it
and you,
sometime.
or you and Harry?
No, me and you, and I
Oh.
cut him out of the picture because I thought we looked cute together, but
He was
whatever.
also sitting there with, like, the 3rd
Wife
wife,
of Mick Jagger?
Pink Floyd no,
Oh,
Pink
oh, yeah.
Floyd, John Waters. Roger
Roger
Waters?
Waters.
Roger Waters. Yeah,
He's got
3rd
problems.
wife of that guy, and then we
Or
looked her
4th.
up and
I mean,
something anyway,
it's a shit show. If you go to New
we looked
York
her up and I was like, "Woo!"
yeah, if
Yeah,
you go to New York, you gotta just at least get a drink, an overpriced drink at the
mhm.
Regency. Just see what happens. I
Just
mean,
hang
even if
out.
you don't know anybody in the place, there will be people to watch.
Yeah, and we even I found one picture when I was trying to look through my pictures of the Regency, and I was like, "Why did I take a picture of this girl?" I was like, "Oh, that was Taylor Hawkins' nanny."
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
Because he had the kids and yeah, the nanny
Uh-huh.
was yeah. But
He
remember
was
Taylor Hawkins he just walked through the bar like, "What's going on in here?" We're
well,
like, "Hey, Taylor."
it was not super crowded right then.
They had a show that night at
Yeah, it
Madison
was
Square
early.
Garden.
I think it was pretty
Yeah.
early.
He was like, "What's going on?" We're like, "Hey, Taylor." He's like, "Hey, what's happening?"
Yeah, I
And we
know.
talked and he chatted. He couldn't have been nicer.
He was just the sweetest and such a
Sweetest.
happy drummer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
such a nice guy. Anyway.
um
So anyway,
Brittany's getting divorced.
I saw that. So maybe she really was married.
Is anybody surprised?
No one's surprised, but it's very sad.
It's very sad, but now maybe he can go be with
Is this her 4th divorce?
whoever his true love is.
Well, who is his true love? Do we know that? Do you have a
No, but
suspicion on that?
I think it's been semi well documented that
Don't say it.
he he has had
Other lovers?
paramours, other
Okay.
lovers, and he's accusing her of having other lovers, and I'm like, "She can't get out of the goddamn house." I mean,
Who
she's
who
able
who?
to, Brittany.
Yeah,
He's no, I
who's she
know. I'm
banging?
like, oh, I don't know,
She's
but
got
like,
a stripper pole. I mean,
yeah, she doesn't leave her house. We all know this. I don't know. Oh
she was in
God.
Vegas where she got slapped by that security guard, so,
Yeah. If I saw her in Vegas, I would just want to give her a hug.
um, okay, I wouldn't. Yeah.
She
I
just,
think it's sad.
I
The whole
love
thing is
her.
sad.
You know,
Yeah.
I've loved her forever, but I mean, oh man,
You and I went to that concert.
I know. Oh,
Mhm.
hey, speaking of conservatorships and whatnot,
Okay.
we don't have to get into it, but the Blind Side
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
fascinating. We can save that for another time.
Yeah, we can. And I will say about that, there I think there are two very, very strong sides to both sides of that story. I
So
think
there's so
each
there's 4 sides.
there's one side, there's the other side, there's the blind side.
That's
Um, no, no, no. I think that it's interesting. They're talking a lot about the Tuohy's money and how much money they've made off of him. The Tuohy's were so rich before he came along, and they will be so rich
Mhm.
after. They own so many Taco Bell franchises. They are they had an airplane before they met him. Like
Mhm.
you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
are very wealthy, but they're
Right.
not wealthy because of him and because of that movie.
Right. Right, right, right.
Um,
But, like,
um,
why a conservatorship? That I think those are hard to
I
get.
don't I don't know.
It's just,
Maybe he
there's
was
gotta
making
be
bad financial decisions and they thought they could help. I don't know. Either way,
he's
I think he has a very strong case, but I
Mhm.
think that their side of it needs to be told as well. So I'm not just gonna like
No, no,
slam
no, not at
them.
all, but I'm kinda fascinated by the whole thing.
I am too, and I think it's really sad because I do think they were very genuinely family. So
Mhm.
I think for anybody to feel that their family has wronged them is terrible.
Mhm.
So
Money Hey, listen, more money,
they
more
probably
problems.
they probably have a chef. They have
Well,
a
we know
chef.
they've been on Below Deck.
I heard that, but I never saw that.
I saw some clips of it, and she had, like, conniption about chocolate ice cream, and I was like, "This is
Oh
bad luck."
no, 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 no. That's why I could never go on below deck because I drink too much and then act like a real asshole. Yeah, or I
Oh.
would just go to bed, and that's no fun for
No,
anybody.
that's no fun. Or I'd be covered in sunscreen and, like, scarves and a giant hat, like, and then there's Maude on the back of a boat. Oh my god, ladies of a certain
Um,
age or what? Ho.
yeah,
If
yeah. I just
anybody
want to
got
say
that
it's.
reference, please
Oh God,
write in.
I just want to say that I'm not saying I don't think that what Michael Orr is saying is true. I don't
No,
have
no,
any
no,
idea.
well, we're
I
not
just think
yeah.
we need to hear both sides of it before just sort of assuming that everything they did was horrible. Because I can tell you, as somebody
They were
who
loaded.
knows lots of people who know them very closely, they are loaded from the jump.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they would
Okay.
have a lot of money whether they knew him or not. Now, whether or not they took his money, will be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope not. Hope not. Okay, so everybody, please, I beg you, follow us on Instagram at Pink Shade Pod. Just put up a reel from the Brandy and Julie interview. Tried to keep it non-controversial,
Oh god.
and love them. Please go and support them at juliebrandy.com and Mike's on, Lights on. It's Kimberly's phrase. Follow their Patreon.
But listen, you
Mike,
guys, you should definitely follow us. You can
yeah.
come over and join us on Supercast or Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can you hear that?
what
Can you
was
hear
that?
that? My stomach.
Well, I thought it was your stomach, but I wasn't going to say anything.
It is so loud. I'm so sorry. God, I'm hungry, I guess.
Good
Oh, weird.
lord. Okay,
Anyway,
anyway,
that
but
was a
follow us.
sidebar. Yeah.
I'm gonna put some new stuff in our store pretty soon.
Ooh.
And yeah, there's fun stuff. So listen, sign up for our pink sheet email that comes out every Sunday in the middle of the night. And then
Mhm.
you'll
How
be
do they do that, Ingrid? How do they
go
sign
to
up for
our
the pink sheet?
website,
Uh-huh.
pinkshadepod.com and Pink Shade Podcast. I don't know what the
Pink,
hell.
it's
Pinkshadepodcast.com.
pinkshadepodcast.com.
And up in the menu, you can click on Pink Sheet and then you
You
can
can
sign up.
shop. You can click Prime, which is where you can sign up for Supercast or Patreon, and you can click sign up for our pink sheet, and then you can
Mhm.
click on the Amazon store.
Yeah, you guys, I built the website, so please visit it. We've had a big week on our website. A lot of people are clicking on our website. I wonder
Yeah.
why.
I wonder why. Who's this bitch?
Oh my
Oh my
god,
god.
the headaches. Anyway, yeah, that's a story for
By the
another
way,
day too. Yeah.
I spoke to Doug and he said nobody's mad at me, so that's good.
Oh, praise. Are they mad at me? No, I'm kidding. They don't even know
No.
my name. That's how I like it, everybody.
It reminds me of the crapping segment. Is Ariana mad at us? All right, everybody, follow us at Pink Shade Pod on Instagram and Pink Shade Podcast on TikTok if you're over there. And we have a Facebook group. We have an official Facebook page, all the things. You'll see all the links below in the show notes. And Ingrid, I'm sure I will talk to you later today. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.